good, everybody? So we had another decent day in the market in terms of price action. It was a bullish day. I had a so-so day. We ended green, so that's always a positive, but it was just plus 36, whatever. Our goal for today was only 50 bucks. I'm doing 50 bucks a day for 20 days. That's a quick little band. Give us a little confidence, give us a little bang in the account. So we're $14 shy today. And I'm not even mad at it because it could have been worse. The only reason I feel some type of way is I was prepared for all the big moves that happened in the market today. You feel me? But with that being said, we're not going to revamp or recap. I did 2 videos already today talking about how I missed over $1,400, partially just because I woke up too late. So proper preparation prevents poor performance. I'm taking my ass to sleep before midnight tonight. With that being said, let's just go ahead and go over what to look forward to for tomorrow. And then we're going to go ahead and look at my actual levels for tomorrow.
Hey Chuck,
What's good?
can you airdrop it, the song real quick?
Oh, didn't finish?
No, I don't think. I didn't get the notification. Okay, I got it.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna dip then.
Oh, good.
All right, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Oh, be safe, Doc. All right, so right here we have a little overview for the market. Well, let's jump into this. So today, like I said, we had a bullish day. We were very green across the board from Amazon, Apple, literally about everything was green today. Nvda, the SPY was green, QQQ was green, the S&P 500 was green. We had a green day today, and I love to see it just because the last like 2-3 weeks, we've had a decent amount of downside with a lot of my favorite names, and then we've had a decent amount of chop. So the fact that we had some big green, I love it. So this is what I got for you tomorrow. This is Diesel's game plan, baby. Hopefully the market stays bullish. That's going to be my first outlook for tomorrow is hopefully the market stays bullish. And if it doesn't, I would like to have a little bit of pullback for it to retest and reclaim some levels that we already know. With that being said, if key support breaks on anything and fails to reclaim quickly, I'm just going to be patient. We are not trading in chop, bro. No chop. Stay out of the chop zones, right? So first off, we're going to be looking for QQQ to hold 720 and hold 724. If we can hold above 724, I see this going back to 730, 736, possibly even 740. And with the way that it was moving today, it's showing us that it could happen in one day, right? And then next we have SPY. The SPY got as high as 751.30 today, right? I would love for this to hold. Let's see where we at right now in after hours. So the SPY is falling down to 750. QQQ is still sitting at 720. So I like the fact that QQQ took that little dip and is cooling off a little bit in after hours. I want to see if it can rise back above 724. If we break 724 tomorrow, I believe we're going to 730 very easily, at least 726 before we get any pullback. Next, like I said, the SPY. So the SPY is currently still at 750. What I would look for is for it to hold that 750 and reclaim 751.30 before expecting more upside. The S&P 500, love that little boy today. Let's see, 7,500 is where I would love to see it hold before going back up and continuing higher. So I'd be looking at 7,500, 7,520, 7,540. But if it cannot break above and hold that 75.40 level, because right now we're at 75.37. So if it breaks back below 75, I'd say like 20. The S&P 500 moves very volatilely. So it could open up or open down 12 points and still return back up to above 75.40. But 75.40 is going to be the level I'm really looking for it at to break out and head back to that 7,600 level. And if we do break below 75.37 at open, the next level I'm looking for is 7,500. So I'd like for it to fall back to 7,500 before continuing back up. For Apple is gonna have to hold this 312, push to 313. If it could push above 313 and hold, my next level is gonna be 314. I'll get into the rest of these once we get into the individual plays. Well, right now, let's just go over the catalyst for the market tomorrow. So 8:30 a.m., we have the U.S. trade balance, and they're going to be discussing what's been going on in the markets, right? And then we have the New York Fed survey at 11 a.m., and this is going to have people worried about rates, about the Fed, about inflation, possibly worried about oil. You feel me? So all of this is going to mess with the market. And now that I know to expect this in the first 2-3 hours of the day, I'm not surprised everything was green. I think everything went green so they could prepare for tomorrow for bad news, or at least no type of guidance, because the new Fed chair was not giving any real guidance. He was pretty much just saying, we're going to look at what the market is doing in real time and decide how to take that. What does that mean, dog? I'm not mad at him for it, but he wasn't giving anything. It's giving, he was giving vagueness, very vague answers, which in a certain extent is also cool because he's aware of the fact that anything he does say can and will be used against him in the stock market. So in that front, it was smart. But in terms of making people feel confident or feel safe in trading in the market, in the country, in the future, he didn't do none of that. He said, we all got eyes, use your eyes and watch what happens in real time. So we also have to watch for chips and AI momentum. If we get any good news about Apple AI, of course, it's going to continue going green. We've had great news on Tesla and deliveries, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a continuation on Tesla still. So yeah, at open, we're going to have to watch for gap ups. That does happen a lot too with S&P 500 and as well with QQQ, gap ups and gap downs. But if we have a gap down, I'm going to count that as a pullback and wait for confirmation of the continuation to the green side. Yeah, but I guess that's just daily. You feel me? So what my number one rule is stepping into the market for tomorrow is having 3 alarms set. Matter of fact, I'm going to set them right here with y'all in real time, because that is the biggest downfall that I had of today, is just not having an alarm set and not having my clock set. So we're setting an alarm for 6:30, 6 a.m., 5:23, and 5 a.m. My 4 alarms are set. Let's go. And I'm turning my ringer all the way the fuck up. Let's go. Rule number 1, lesson number 1. There we go. 2, I'm going to focus on 2 tickers at a time. So first, I'm probably going to be looking at the S&P 500 just because it's my favorite. It's the most volatile. It gives some of the best returns, some of the biggest risk to reward. First, I'm just going to look at the S&P 500, and I'm going to look at QQQ to see what technology is doing. But honestly, I like trading S&P 500 and SPY and tandem better. And then I like Tesla. I like Tesla, bro. I like Tesla and I like Apple. So it's like, I'm probably gonna look at some Tesla and I'm probably gonna look at some Apple. Those is the main 4 I'm worried about. Not QQQ, SPY and SPX, Tesla and Apple. I've been wanting to play Nvidia, but it hasn't really been moving like that. It's been getting caught inside a range and just dancing, and I don't like it. So early on, we're going to wait for a retest, see if any of this stuff wants to drop before coming back up and continuing up. I'm not going to be emotional. One of my biggest downfalls is re-entering plays that I've already made. Not falling for that one. With that being said, today it actually played in my favor because I just double dipped a couple of times on the SPY, double dipped a couple of times on the S&P 500, and that's how I even came out green on the day. Because ultimately I was down $111, and then I took 3-4 little pops, $27 here, $12 here, $15 there, just to get myself back out that hole. Tomorrow I'm not trying to have to do that. Not trying to have to do that tomorrow. So let's go ahead and jump into what stocks am I looking at? What are the tickers and what are the price projections for tomorrow? So first and foremost, we're gonna be looking at the SPY. Why did it just change my format like that? Why did it just change my format like that? What is we doing? All right. So first and foremost, we're gonna be looking at the SPY. Right now it's sitting at 750. I wanted to reclaim 751.30. So my trigger is going to be a reclaim of 751.30 or 752.40, somewhere in this range. If we could sit above 751.30, then I feel comfortable taking a 752 call, maybe a 755. If we break below 751 at open, I'm waiting for it to break below 749. If we break below 749, I'm taking a 748 call, or mean a 748 put, 748 put. So it would be best if it fell back to 748, honestly, so we could get some support and get a pullback zone and then also price a little cheaper. But as long as it stays above 746, we still are looking bearish because that's where we started at today and it broke above that. Next, I'm looking at the S&P 500. Right now it's in the 750.37 zone. So I'm going to be looking for it to break back out to 750.51. That was the high of the day. That's about 24 points higher than it's at right now. 24-point move don't sound bad, baby. But like I just said, if we end up breaking down from 7,537, my next level on it is 7,500. And then from 7,500, I have 7,485. But if we break that 7,500 hard, we're probably going back to 7,450 or 7,440. That 7,440 number was a strong zone for it for the last month. So I really wouldn't be surprised if we stayed around that area and fell back down to there, especially with the amount of news that I just told you is going on and the fact that the Fed is going to be speaking. Whenever the Fed speaks, the market's volatile. Next on the list is QQQ. Right now, QQQ is sitting at about 720. Let me double check that. QQQ, yeah, 720.34. So as long as we go hold that 720.34, I do believe we can go back to the upside. QQQ likes to move fast. So if we get above 721 tomorrow, I'm looking for 724.50. And realistically, if we can hold that 724.50, it's really possible for us to go back to 70.30 on QQQ tomorrow, especially if the SPY and the S&P 500 maintain a bullish outlook. I'm really bullish on pretty much everything on here. The only one that I'm not sure about is Nvda because today had a little bit of a struggle day, and SoFi because I'll get to that reason. So Appl, as long as we can hold 309, I have faith that Appl can maintain this range of 309 to 312. Though it has hit as high as 317 and broke back below 300 to the 290 area. So if we fall below 309 at open, I'm going to be looking for 308, possibly down to 300. If we maintain this 309, where are we at right now? Right now it's at 312.65. So if it could maintain that 312 and break above 313.50, I'm looking for this 314 level. And if we can hold that 314 and push to 316, I believe 317 is way more in sight before 318. Clearly, 17 comes before 18. But today it had a lot of momentum. And let me double check. I don't think it got anywhere near breaking that 317. Yeah, it got up to about 314 and then came back down. So on tomorrow, I wouldn't expect it to go higher than 314 before needing to break more and give us that next level up to 317 and 320. Nvidia. I have faith in it because it popped up to this 196.70 level, which is a level I've been waiting for it to reclaim, but it couldn't hold, and it ended up closing around there. Oh, Nvidia is at 194 right now. It closed at 195.55, and right now in aftermarket is at 194.70. So with that being said, unfortunately, I'm gonna be looking for some downside on Nvidia. I'm going to be looking for the 192. And really, if I had to just right now say what direction I'm expecting, I would just open up and say the 190 put. That's without me checking, doing any homework, or any confluence. I have faith that it could possibly going back to 190 with the fact that it had hit 196 earlier today, and then it immediately sold off a little bit. And I'm not gonna say sold off because Nvidia can move 20 points in a day. It didn't even move 10. But with that being said, is why I'm looking at it to possibly go down. And with the news that came out last week about companies possibly making knockoff Nvidia chips, and just having them in the news where it's not purely positive news makes people anxious and want to sell out. So I'm looking for Nvidia to fall back to that 190 zone. If it does fall to the 190 zone and then reclaim back to the 192, 93 in the same day, then I'll look for some upside to the 196. But for now, I'm a little bearish on Nvidia. Next up, we have Tesla. That's that bitch right there. Tesla was going crazy today, boy. And I'm really mad because I knew that it had it in it. And I've been waiting for a 20-point move on Tesla. I've wanted it back to 400, back to 420, and I missed it. So Tesla today, it broke past that 400 level. It broke past the 404 level, and it almost went all the way to the 420. It hit where we go, where we end up at today. Yeah, we got the 419.80s, the 419.80s on Tesla. The 420 is the level I'm waiting for. And if we have a continuation of this momentum past the first 30 minutes, I believe we're very easily going back to 424, possibly even 430. My next level I'm going to be looking for is 420, though. If we could push through that 420, we go into 424. And if we could push and hold 425, my next level is 430. I know my sheet says 432 and 428. So from 424 to 428 to 432, if we could push past 425.50, I'm buying a 430. But also, it's a little overextended for the fact that it did run up this whole candle right here. So from 390 to 419, that's 29, almost $30 in one day. So take that with a grain of salt that I'm looking forward to go to 420, 430. And then SoFi was pretty cool too, because it did end up going towards that 19, above that $19 range, which a lot of people are waiting for. I have faith in SoFi to $20, but if we go and look at the chart, I'll go ahead and pull it up. Every time we look at the SoFi chart, we can see that it can't really break and maintain. It can get close, but anytime it gets close to $20, it turns right back around and just takes a dip. And it usually dips to about the 1650 range. So let me go ahead and break this down onto the, what do we want to see? The 15-minute. So yeah, we break this down to the 15-minute. You can see that we haven't really broke 17 right there. 1654 is the low. 1565. This was, oh wow. Okay, never mind. I'm lying. So it has broke $16. It broke $16 back in June. I didn't realize that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 for 5 days. All right, so we broke that 1650 level for 5 days. But for the most part, SoFi, from my understanding, likes to play in this $19 to $16.50 range. And earlier we hit 1910, 1911. And what did it do? Immediately fell down. So I would not be surprised if it continued to fall down to this 250-day moving average before trying to reclaim 19, or possibly even fell all the way down to $18 and then took a ride back up. I probably won't play SoFi tomorrow, but I am prepared for it to make that move either back to 19 or back to 18, 17, 80. And so, yeah, with that being said, that's pretty much my outlook on the market tomorrow. I'm going to be expecting things to be bullish, but I'm also ready for the pullback on them. Let's look at Nvidia really quick, because like I said, it bounced within this range right here. This looks like a lot, but it really isn't. This is 195 to 197. And the majority of the day, it played in the 195.70 to the 197 range, right? So that's pretty concise. And if you look here, we had a little head and shoulders to end the day. This is actually a pretty clean head and shoulders on the 15. And so yeah, I have faith that it can continue back to $2, but it's been struggling to go to $2 and hold. You see, the last 3 times it hit, it took a deep dive right back down. But I do have faith in Nvidia in the long term, and it is green on the day. Oh, where do we open up at? 194. Wow, barely closed above where it opened. That's crazy. Yeah, man. That's what I'm looking at for tomorrow. I plan on getting up by 6 o'clock, getting at it bright and early. Oh, like I always say, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If there's anything you want to know, feel free to ask. If you want to talk about any of the specific indicators, I got you. Specifically, I'll just do this really quick. The main indicators that I like to use, you see this blue line, that's the 250-day moving average. This pink line is the 20-day moving average, and this white line is VWAP. The moving average is showing you the average price of the stock over the course of, this one is 20 days, this one is 250 days, right? And then VWAP is the volume weighted average price. So this is the price also tied to volume, which is the amount of people in it, and it's weighted. So the prices that matter the most are the ones that are factored in, right? And so if these candles start to break underneath any of these lines, you can expect more downside. If the candles are staying above these lines, you can expect that the stock is going to be supportive of the level it's at and possibly continue higher. And if you see it start to break like this right here, it touched it and then it bounced up, that's a retest. If we start to break and then we bounce the opposite direction, that means it doesn't want to go that way. Same thing for if it's going up and it goes above. I'm trying to look for an example that's not in after hours. I don't see one right now. But yeah, so those are the indicators that I use the most to decide when to get in and out of a trade. I use the 250-day moving average, the 20-day moving average, and VWAP. And then outside of that, I'm looking at the RSI, which is showing you how many people are going with that same direction in the trade, and whether or not it's overextended, it's a good time to get in, is it hot? And then this right here is actually physically showing you the amount of volume, which is again the amount of people that are in that position or in that candle, in what direction they're going to. So this one right here means that a majority of people at this point in time were selling. This red candle indicates all the people who are selling. This green candle indicates all the people who are buying. So yeah, the sellers were more in control in this minute. The buyers were more in control. Right here, the buyers were struggling, and then the sellers beat them. Then the sellers beat them, but barely. And then the buyers beat them, but barely. The buyers barely beat them again. You feel me? This is literally like, it's like a fight. You can look at this like a boxing match, for real, for real. But yeah, all right. If you want me to do more specific breakdowns on any of the indicators that I have on my chart or any of the things that I'm watching, how I get my confluence, how I get my confidence in the directions that I'm claiming, feel free to ask. I have no problem explaining anything. And